What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports, and to take a break from the Eagles, definitely need to. We're going to talk some Flyers hockey right now. Flyers hockey. I can't believe I'm saying those words. They're actually going to be playing. It's a very exciting time right now in Philadelphia. Very exciting time. Training camp opens up today. The Flyers' first game is going to be next Wednesday, the 13th, opening up against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Oof, I am excited right now. I am really excited. And there's also some other little bits of news going on with the Flyers right now. Like I said, training camp opened up today. The players got their physicals over the weekend. The rosters were announced over the weekend. We can also go over the schedule and also maybe a little bit of an interesting news that revolves around the Flyers schedule as well. So definitely going to get into all of that. And just to talk about training camp right now and how it's going to lead up to the regular season. So, I want to go over the training camp roster first. I'm going to pull up my Twitter thing right here so I can look at all the players. So, we're looking at the forward core right now. We got Wade Allison, Andy Andreoff, Nicholas Aube-Kubel, Connor Bunneman, Sean Couturier, Joel Farabee, who changed his number from 49 to 86. Love that stuff right there. Tyson Forrester, the Flyers' first-round draft pick from this past NHL draft. And that's going to be interesting right now as well, because the NHL, I think the junior leagues and the CHL are also allowing players who were drafted in this past draft are going to be allowed to play in the American Hockey League until the OHL, the Q, the WHL, those leagues finally start to get underway, because those leagues right now are paused indefinitely. So in order to get some of these guys playing time and getting on the ice, they're going to allow them to play in the AHL, which honestly could benefit guys like Tyson Forrester out as well. Same thing with Zayde Wisdom. He is on the Flyers training camp roster as well. So most likely these guys are not going to make the opening day roster. That's just a fact right there. And getting these guys some pro playing time in the AHL, playing with pro hockey leaguers, that's going to be something that can probably help their development right there. Hopefully help their development. And it will expectedly help their development. Other players on the forward core: Morgan Frost, Claude Giroux, the captain, Kevin Hayes, Travis Konechny, Tanner Linzinski, Scott Lawton, Oscar Lindblom, Samuel Morin, who was originally a defenseman who struggled a lot just with the unluckiness of tearing his ACL, I think, a couple of times right here. So they're doing something a little bit interesting right now, a little bit fun. The Flyers decided to change his process right here, and he's going to be a forward now. He's going to be playing the left wing. So I'm not expecting way too much out of this. Samuel Morin, if he does turn out to develop into something on the forward side, he most likely will only be, like, at best, I would say, a third line forward, most likely on that fourth line side, healthy scratch type of player right there. Not expecting anything way too much right there. I just want to see this guy finally get some time on the ice, because he's just been so unlucky during his entire career. Also have Nolan Patrick, very exciting right here. He was cleared during his physical, just missing the entire season last year with his migraine syndrome. So it's great to see that he passed his physical. Great to see him back on the ice, and they're actually doing a scrimmage right now. And he has been looking pretty nice out there, so that's something really good to look forward to. We also got Michael Raffle, Linus Sandin, Carson Twarynski, James Van Riemsdyk, Jake Voracek, and Zayde Wisdom to wash out the forward on the roster. So now let's go to the defensemen on the roster right now for training camp. We got Chris Bigris, Derek Pouliot, Justin Braun, Nate Prosser, Mark Friedman, Ivan Provorov, Shane Gostisbehere, Travis Sanheim, Eric Gustafsson, who the Flyers signed this past offseason, Tyler Wotherspoon, Robert Haig, Wyatt Wiley, Phil Myers, and Jaeger Zamula. And it's going to be something interesting going into the regular season too with the Flyers, how this defensive core is going to shape up with the loss of Matt Niskanen. You brought in Eric Gustafsson. He's definitely not a replacement for Matt Niskanen. That's something that's going to be very difficult to replace, what he brought to the table, how he helped Ivan Provorov out throughout the regular season last year, and his development into bouncing back from a very poor junior season, I would say. So it's going to be very interesting right there. Right now, you take these lineups, these shape-ups of the lines right now on day one of training camp, you take those with a grain of salt. That's definitely not what the lineup is going to look like on day one of the regular season. So there's going to be a lot of kinks to work out right here, a lot of tweaks and everything right here. It's a work in progress. It's day one of training camp, so take those lineups with a grain of salt. And also, some of these young guys, Flyers drafted them recently. Jaeger Zamula, he was a free agent signing, undrafted, and he's one of the Flyers' top defensive prospects right there. So it'll be interesting to see if he can find a way to crack a roster spot. If not, he will most likely be playing in the AHL or most likely will be part of the taxi squad. Because the NHL, I think they're allowing, 4, 5, or 6 players to be allowed on the taxi squad. So that's going to be something nice right there for some of these young players. And for the goaltenders that round out the training camp roster, Carter Hart, Brian Elliott, Alex Lyon, Felix Sandstrom, and Rowdy Ross. So some important news right here for one of the goaltenders in the Flyers development system, Kirill Dimenko. He had hip surgery, so he is going to be out 4 to 5 months. So this allows a guy like a Rowdy Ross, who the Flyers drafted a couple of drafts ago, to get a crack right here and maybe get some time down in the AHL. Because the NHL, they're allowing teams to carry 3 goaltenders. So Alex Lyon is most likely going to be that third goaltender on the Flyers roster, allowing guys like Felix Sandstrom and Rowdy Ross to be the tandem down with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. So going to the schedule for training camp this week, it's going to be nice seeing training camp at least. It's going to be really nice. It's a change of pace, definite change of pace. So we got today 11 a.m. Today's Monday started at 11 a.m. and they're going to have scrimmages. Tomorrow and Wednesday going to be the same thing, 11 a.m. with scrimmages. Thursday it's going to be their off day. Friday the same thing as today, tomorrow and Wednesday. They're going to start at 11 a.m. with scrimmages. Now for Saturday and Sunday, they're going to be doing this in groups now. So on Saturday, Group 1 is going to be practicing from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Group 2 will be practicing from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. On Sunday, Group 1 will be practicing at 10:30. Group 2 will be practicing at 11:30. And then there's going to be an inter-squad scrimmage that is going to be scheduled on Sunday night at 7 p.m. So that's going to be rounding around the training camp schedule for this week for the Flyers. Because honestly, we're only a week away from the regular season. The regular season starts on Wednesday. So it's going to be a quick turnaround. It's going to be fast-paced. And we're going to be getting a lot of news during this week on players that might have been injured. I think Tanner Lanzinski, I think he had core muscle surgery, so he's going to miss a little bit of time. There really hasn't been a timetable on what is wrong right there, but he has been seen skating. And they're also talking about Zayd Wisdom. He wasn't participating in today's scrimmage, so they'll probably release something right there, but he was seen skating. So I don't think it's going to be anything major right there, nothing to worry about. So it's going to be an interesting week. And just going to the Flyers' schedule right now, it's a long schedule. It's a really long schedule. It's going to be a difficult schedule. Insanely difficult. As I'm reading this right now, it goes from January 13th to May 8th. And you're playing every single team in your division. Every single team. Pittsburgh, Washington, both New York teams and the Rangers and the Islanders, New Jersey, Buffalo, and the Boston Bruins. It's going to be a tough schedule. This is the toughest division in probably the entire league this year. So if you start with the season right now, you start the first 2 games off at home against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Then you play your next 2 home games against the Buffalo Sabres. And then you go on the road for 4 straight games against Boston and the New Jersey Devils. Then you're back at home for 4 straight games with the Islanders and the Bruins. You go on the road twice to face the Capitals, back at home twice to face the Devils. You're splitting home and road with the Rangers, and then you play a game on February 21st, it looks like, with the Boston Bruins. And there's something interesting to look at right here, because this is a stretch of 3 out of 4 games right here to playing the New York Rangers. But then that one game in the middle is the Boston Bruins, and there's a couple of, days separate right there. So one of these games, it's on Thursday, February 18th against the New York Rangers. And then the Flyers don't play until the 21st against the Boston Bruins. And then they won't play for another 3 days later against the New York Rangers. So what has been reported right now, since there's so many days between those gaps right there. It sounds like the Flyers and the Bruins are going to be playing an outdoor game at Lake Tahoe. So that's going to be something interesting right there, seeing the Flyers in an outdoor game. I forget the other two teams that were scheduled to play at Lake Tahoe, but the Flyers and the Bruins, they are one of the two teams that have been, I guess, slated to play that outdoor game in Lake Tahoe. So that's going to be something fun right there. And then the wrap up February, there's 2 games at Buffalo. Starting in March, 2 games at Pittsburgh, 1 game at Boston. They're back at home to face Buffalo, 2 at home against Washington, 2 on the road against the Rangers, 2 on the road against the Islanders, 1 game at home against the Devils, 2 games at home against the Rangers, 2 on the road against Buffalo, 1 at the Islanders, 2 at home against Boston, 1 on the road against the Islanders. The schedule gets fairly tedious because it's just all division members. Then you start with April right here. You got Buffalo, 2 games at Pittsburgh, 1 game at home against Washington, 1 game at home against the Islanders, one on the road against the Devils, 1 on the road against the Rangers, 1 at home against the Islanders, 1 at home against the Capitals, 1 at New Jersey, 1 at home against New Jersey, 2 at home against Pittsburgh, and then to close off the regular season, they have 2 straight road games against the Washington Capitals. So it's going to be a weird season. I'm going to admit that. It's going to be a very weird season. Very weird. Just because we're just like in a state right now where it's just, we got hockey back, and every division, you got your East Division, your Central Division, your Western Division, and the Northern Division, which is all the Canadian teams. And every division right there, they're going to be just playing interdivision games. That's all the regular season is going to be. And then the same thing once you get into the playoffs. That's when you start seeing those. The first 2 rounds are going to be interdivision games. Then once you get into the conference finals, that's when you start preparing to play teams from other divisions. And the same thing with the Stanley Cup Finals. So basically, every single team is going to be playing a divisional game from now through the end of the second round of the playoffs. That's going to be a lot of division matchups. That's going to be a lot of rivalries. Imagine for the Canadian division, Calgary against Edmonton, the Battle of Alberta. Imagine how many times they have to play each other this season. I think it's like 9 or 10 times. Those teams are going to get sick of playing each other. It's going to lead to some great hockey, though. Maybe some just angry hockey, some physical hockey. It'll be very exciting to watch, especially seeing the Flyers playing the Penguins so many times, the Capitals so many times, the Rangers so many times. It's going to really spruce up some of these rivalries when you're seeing these teams so many days in and so many nights out. It's going to be a very fun season. And we're going to getting into a lot of this stuff as the week goes on, as we get closer and closer towards the regular season. It's going to be a very fun time right here. A very, very fun time. And just some great things to talk about. Nolan Patrick, he's cleared to play for the Flyers this season. He's participating in training camp, and is most likely there's going to be contact during training camp. So we get to see how Nolan Patrick takes effect into that. There have been some clips during the scrimmage today at training camp showing what Nolan Patrick has been doing. He made a nice feed to Travis Konecny. He was robbed on the goal. So Nolan Patrick is doing some things on the ice right there on day 1 of training camp. Same thing with Morgan Frost. There was a little bit of a highlight where he deked out Gostisbehere and also deked out Brian Elliott for a really nice goal right there. So some really exciting stuff. And we're going to be getting more news as the week goes on, as we get closer and closer towards the start of the regular season. So stick with it. Let's stick with it. So I want to hear your thoughts right here. What are your thoughts on training camp starting for the Flyers? What are your thoughts on the roster right now? And how do you think the roster is going to shape up? What are your thoughts on going into the regular season? Are you excited? Are you pumped? I hope you are. I definitely hope you are. So don't forget to leave your comment down in the comment section. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I am a part of. We're going to be doing some big things during the Flyers season, live streaming a lot of games. So don't forget to stay tuned with them. Their links will be down in the description below. Don't forget to check out the Florida Podcast merchandise website. That link will be in the description below as well. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.